Oh, hello, welcome back to another video, and this is the channel's fourth battle report. Now, before I get into it, for reasons that I will explain at the end of the video, we actually played this game, Zimbad and I, over a week ago now, so I'm going to be even less across the details than I usually am. But hopefully you'll enjoy listening along to the narrative and the broad strokes of what went on in the game. Before I get started, I want to talk a little bit about the teams. So once again, I'm playing my Novitiates with one of every kind of specialist and no militants and no Pegasus flamethrower troops. Not because I think it's tactically the best play, but because those are the models I have painted. I have now assembled my second box of Novitiates and they're waiting to be painted. But they weren't ready in time for this game, so I was using what I had. Similarly, Zimbad's got a sergeant with a chainsword because that's the model he had. We all understand that a power sword would be better. And then it's pretty standard heavy bolter, plasma gun, and the plasma pistol. If it's not obvious from the picture, he's using the tactical marine fire team for the Space Marines, which I think is one of their stronger fire teams. I mean, it's kind of funny that the Chaos Marines can field 6 Marines and they've all got an extra wound, so... But it's still a pretty strong fire team, and I think certainly better than any of their Primaris offerings, right? So, on the left-hand side, you can see how things looked when we deployed, and on the right-hand side, you can see how things looked at the end of turn 1. So, try and walk you through my thoughts around deployment. So, generally speaking, I split my squad into 3 kind of, I want to use the word fire teams, but that's already a rules thing. But yeah, 3 teams. Got the team down here, okay, where you can see my leader. I've got the duelist, who's kind of one of my, what I consider to be one of the big heavy hitters of the team. The Medicae down here, who generally I like to follow along behind the leader with the leader with a plasma pistol, which tends to fire on maximum fire, so that's kind of the plan there. We got kind of the middle fire team, where just under here that you can't quite see, we've got the relic bearer. Then we have basically it's a lot of the models that didn't have anywhere better to go. So you got I forget the name, the one with the double-handed mace that has the reroll armor saves buff is in there as well. And as is I think that is the comms operative there. Okay. No, it's the banner. I'm lying. The one I circled just then was the banner. Right, so got those 3 there. And then up at the top here, kind of obscured by the terrain, unfortunately, I have a group of 4. Okay, so up there, you've got the whip wielding encourager, exactor, that's the name of it. The mini repentia, the penitent. That's where the comms lady is, and also the silenced crossbow sniper character. Okay. On his side of the table, Zimbad has his Marines kind of stuck in fire teams of 2. So there's 2 bolter guys up there. There's the leader and a bolter guy here. And then both his heavy weapons, the heavy bolter and the plasma gun down here. So he'd split off into 3 teams. And I'd split off into 3 teams, but each of my teams kind of have more models. Now, in terms of the mission that we are playing, I haven't got the book in front of me, so I forget exactly what it's called, but it's the one where you can loot each objective a maximum of 3 times, and then they disappear. So the easy to acquire ones, you kind of loot them, and then they're gone, and you have to kind of move on to any that have been forgotten. So as you see here at the end of turn 1, and I know I haven't explained everything else yet, but as you see here at the end of turn 1, this orange dice on this objective and this orange dice here down on this objective, they just signify that the objectives have been looted once and they got 2 charges, I guess, left in them, right? So why did I deploy like this, and what were my sort of plans going forwards? Well, I thought that the objective down here looked to be, to me, the most defensible. May not have been correct about that, but it looked like the most defensible, so I nominated that as my objective that was worth extra points to me. I took is it Consecrate Ground, right? One of the Novitiates unique stratagems where you nominate one of the objective markers, and if you hold it at the start and at the end of the game, you get victory points. Also, as standard, I took the one where I gain victory points when he kills my models when I'm on objective markers, because I think that tends to happen, which probably isn't a great thing, but it does. And I had the one for holding the middle. So that bear that in mind as well. I don't actually remember what Zimbad was trying to do. But if it comes to me during the course of the battle report, I'll let you know. I know, but it's mainly from my side of things, right? So my plan really was I was gonna move the banner and the cup, the relic bearer, and one of my close combat monsters, the mace one with the sort of reroll armor saves aura onto this objective turn 1. Use the relic bearer's ability to obviously gain extra faith points. And to do the objective action, to loot the objective. I'm going to send this team down here, these guys, and obviously their main focus is going to be to stand on this objective, okay, with a view to having that combat one to go and do extra stuff later on, and maybe using my leader in subsequent turns to fire off some plasma gun shots. And up at the top, my plan was obviously this objective is a little further away, so I'm going to whip the Eviscerator wielding one to get her some extra movement so she can move, and then also capture the objective there. I used the pre-game dash to dash my crossbow lady up towards a ladder here that you just can't see in the shot, and that's how she managed to get all the way up here. Unfortunately, the cover's just on the wrong side, so even though she was concealed all the time with her silenced weapons, couldn't really get cover from everything. This plasma gunner here has done quite a significant little chunk of damage. And then I was left with the radio operator. The radio operator had thought about giving an extra action point to the sniper to try and get her more kind of round up to this cover. I ended up not doing that and just kind of sitting the radio operator up here. You can see her in the after picture kind of up here, just behind that box, not really doing anything useful. For Zimbad's turn, you know, he basically moved both of his heavy hitters. You can see they've both moved up here. This fire team here, he moved them across to here, and I actually managed to kill one of his models because you can see they were both on. They were both aggressive. So, oh no, I didn't. I managed to wound him. That's what this dice here is. Yeah. So got him down to 4 wounds remaining. This Space Marine here. Oh, the terrain's really bad for photographs, right? Because it's so 3-dimensional. But we did make a lovely narrative board. I do promise that when I get that, I will get the Octarius terrain painted up, and I think that will make the game much easier to follow in terms of the photographs that I'm taking. So it was mainly a positioning turn. I did do the damage there with the crossbow. He's done some damage back to my relic bearer and my crossbow, which really were the 2 pieces that he was gunning for the whole time. At least some of that damage came from the plasma gun. I think that's what he flipped. Yeah, you can see that here. If I haven't covered it up in pen, that's what he flipped onto aggressive there. And then the bolter here shot up at my character there. Yeah, and the reason he's split between the 2 and not finished either one off is because I did make use of my miracle dice to count my crossbow as being in cover. And then obviously because she's on the conceal order, she couldn't be shot from the character down here, so he was forced to go for this one down there. That's pretty much first turn, pretty much a positioning turn. Zimbad's leader and Bolter dude that are here that have disappeared. They're not dead, they're just under somewhere. The gantry here, you can see though that one of them has managed to claim this objective. He's just not quite in the photograph, but he's taken a point of the objective there as well. We'll push on to turn 2. So the same picture on the left of the screen now that was on the right of the previous slide, so we can see where things were at the start of turn 2, and over on the right hand side of the screen you can see how things were at the end of turn 2. So obviously there's a lot that's gone on, and you'll have to bear with me because I can't remember exactly how we got there. Okay, I remember that my leader, who's kind of scuttling down here, did manage to take out, I think it was the heavy bolter with a plasma shot. Always powerful, always strong, but in return they came through and shot back, and I'm pretty sure that the duelist, no, I remember now, I shot with the leader, did some wounds, managed to charge up, so he ended up with this heavy up here. I managed to charge up with the duelist. Duelist took out his heavy, but then the plasma gunners come around here and blows the duelist away. So we kind of traded there. Although into Marines, I did lose a powerful piece, but I don't consider it to have been that bad of a trade. Where things were a bit more sticky for me, this group in the middle, you know, foolishly I was trying to hold on to the middle, which was always going to be difficult. I took a lot of damage to grenades. You know, there's a mechanic here with the aura from, oh, I forget the name, the one with the double mace, where you really want to cluster up to get them armor save rerolls, but Zimbad really loves taking frag grenades, and I took 2 grenades. Obviously he'd put his guys into the middle. You know, you can see there's one there in the middle. There was another Marine came into the middle later on. And while that does make him somewhat vulnerable, you know, he's got the power armor, he's got bags of wounds, whereas my sisters need to be played a bit more cagily than I in fact played them. Obviously, I've still got my sniper running around across there. I think I did delete this Marine here, okay, and I sort of tried to move around here afterwards to get some cover from this piece of light cover bolted on there, because obviously the sniper is staying concealed all the time. I got some wounds back from my faith, which is a really nice feature of the Sisters of Battle. Yeah, this Marine here has taken another point from this objective, which is why that's gone down to 1. He's then moved and done some shooting and mopping up down here to help contribute to the elimination of all 3 of those pieces. So you can see Zimbad's leader as well is somewhere here. There's a Marine still here, so you know he's still got 4 pieces there. It was a very bloody turn for both sides, turn 2, but now I'm struggling to hold on to things basically. And over in this kind of area, again, it's difficult to see from the photograph. I've got my model still stacked on here. That is not the same miniature. We had a little close combat event in the middle there, and death. I think that is the Vox, the comms that's moved up there to take onto that, just so I've got something on that counter. Okay. Pushing on to turn 3, and again, I'm really having to play desperately here. So you can see that I can see from the picture now, this is the Whippy lady. That's what she was left without much to do. She has kind of taken the last item out of that objective and moved into the middle and tried to score, because I had to hold the middle stratagem. I've left the medic here on this objective, which is worth a point to me, and tried to bring my lead around. I did this turn take the ability that lets me have an infinite range of shooting attack and tried to get some plasma hurt on. Obviously I've managed to wipe out Zimbad's plasma gunner at long last. I think that was with my sniper up here, but he's still got, it's funny, you can't see any of his Marines in this picture, but he's still got a leader there. I think there's a Bolter Marine, oh no, there's a Bolter Marine here on this objective that's come forward, and there's a Bolter Marine there, whereas I've got very few pieces left myself. I think it's just the 1, 2, 3, 4 that you can see on there. Yeah, I've missed out loads of detail, obviously I do apologise, but I think you can see where this is going, and it was going to a Marine victory, although it was I can't remember the exact points totals, but it was a pretty narrow narrow Marine victory in the end. I was still a little bit embarrassed, of course, because the received wisdom is that Marines aren't very good, but you do the best you can. And then you see turn 4, the start of turn 4 on the left and the end of turn 4 on the right. You know, he had that victory point advantage, and even though he's taken out my leader, okay, so she was there, he's taken out my leader, I've managed to take out some of his Marines, but really, he had the victory point lead at that point, that even though I scored the points for holding this at the start of the end of the game, I did get 1 point, but not 2 from the middle, and I managed to get points for dying on the objectives. He's had slightly more points overall. Apologies, I can't remember the exact score, but the end result was, in fact, a victory to the Marines, which I was not expecting. I think it says something about the conventional wisdom around people saying, oh, you know, it really is received wisdom that the Marines are very weak. And as far as the Primaris fire teams would go, I'd say I definitely agree with that. Tactical Marines are not awful. I mean, they get a bit of flack because they're mechanically worse than the Chaos Marines, right? You can take 6 Chaos Marines and they're just the same as 6 Tactical Marines, but they have an extra wound. So from that perspective, you should always take the Chaos Marines. But people say that 6 Chaos Marines are one of the strong, not like top tier, but like definitely second to top tier compendium teams. And actually, that 1 wound doesn't make that many odds, or at least it didn't in this matchup. I'm supposed to point out, Zimbab painted these when he was 15, so he's about, I won't say exactly how old he is, but that was, you know, more than a lifetime ago now. So that's why you can see things like this purity seal not painted, and there's a belt buckle not painted. And actually, his painting's still much better than mine was at that age. Right, I said I'd explain why there's been such a gap between videos and things. So it's boring personal stuff. A lot of pressure at work, and I'm not going to become another teacher on the internet moaning about how hard the work is, because most of the time it's not actually that bad. But like a lot of other jobs, there are crunch points, and so we've just had the kind of end of Christmas term exams, and they had to be marked, and then all the students' grades kind of analysed and then input into various places, and that just takes a lot of time, right? Sitting and marking exam papers takes a lot of time. So that kind of made me miss the last weekend and a couple of other things. And then unfortunately my wife got really ill. She's better now, but for sort of 2 days there it was pretty touch and go. So I just didn't feel like recording a video. I didn't want to force myself to do it because I was too busy worrying. But we are back on track now. I'm going to try and get another video out tomorrow. Apologies for the slightly lackluster battle report, but having taken all the photographs, I really wanted to make sure I made a video out of it to show you that and tell you about my thoughts. I will try and get a video out nearly every day next week about various things. I've got loads of ideas of things that I haven't been able to talk about because I've just not been kind of in the right frame of mind to be doing public speaking stuff. Christmas is on the way. I do have an idea for some Christmassy content that I want to do at some point, but also it is worth saying that probably that's going to cause more gaps. But at the end of the day, it would be nice to make a little bit of change from you know, having a YouTube account, but actually I'm not here to make it a genuine income stream, so I should probably stop worrying about the algorithm punishing me for having a spotty upload schedule, right? It's just a bit of fun, and I'm having fun doing it, and I hope that you've had fun watching the video. If you liked it, like, subscribe, all those sorts of things. There's Element Games link in the description, all that sort of stuff. You know, if you're buying Christmas presents anyway, helps out. But other than that, hope you had a really nice time, and I hope you have a really great rest of your day. Thanks, everybody.